You
Shanti, brother. Fine. How are you, brother?
fine sister, you're seeing Quran chapter 4, which is titled Women. So we have already seen 31st, but still we will revise that because we have left the last point. So we will just revise it. Read from 31, sister.
Okay, brother. If you avoid the worst of what you are forbidden, we will remit your sins and admit you by gate of honor.
Okay, in the previous video, we have discussed it in detail about how lust is the worst of what God has forbidden us from. So that's the forbidden fruit. It is the lust. Because the difference between heaven and hell is this world was heaven in the beginning, it's hell now. In heaven, there won't be any traces of vice like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. Lust is the greatest enemy that made us lose the kingdom of heaven, and the world has become hell. The same world was heaven in the beginning. So, to give us back the heaven, God wants us to renounce these five vices, and that is possible only when you renounce the body consciousness. God says you are not this body, but the soul that operates this body. It's a tiny point of light in between the eyebrows. So that's why Hindus apply tilak here. So consider yourselves to be souls and remember God as a point of light. He is called Allah by Muslims, God Shiv by Hindus, Heavenly Godfather by Christians. Other than him, nobody else who has taken birth through a mother's womb can ever be called God. Neither Sri Krishna nor Jesus Christ, nobody is God. And God is only one, He comes only once in the end. Only He gives the knowledge that's required to enter heaven, that's required to transform us from human into deities of heaven. So God says you have to renounce body consciousness and become soul conscious again by remembering, considering yourself to be soul and to remember God as a point of light in the golden red colored light world as much as possible. This is the essence of God's knowledge. This is the message of God. But you can't find the message of God in any religious scriptures because they were all written by humans. So God Himself comes in the end. Not everybody is going to accept what we are saying, but those who were the residents of in heaven, after taking several rebirths, having lost everything, they only will be attracted to the direct knowledge of God. Others will be satisfied with their own religious founders. So they will come when their religion come into being. For example, Christianity came 2000 years back. So only then they will also be coming here to earth. Till then they will be with God without any consciousness. That's not something to feel proud of because you will have no consciousness. It's like coma stage. But those who listen to God and become soul conscious and conquer these five vices lust, anger, greed, and attachment, they'll be able to take birth in heaven right from the beginning and enjoy the richness of heaven for the first 2500 years. So now, in order to enter that, we have to renounce body consciousness because that's the root of all other evils like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. And among them, the number one is lust. So that is what here it is mentioned. You have to avoid the worst of what is forbidden of you. So lust is forbidden. If you avoid it, we will cancel your all other sins. Here it is mentioned so, but in reality, even if you are able to conquer attachment, ego, uh, anger, lust is not that easy to conquer. When you are able to conquer that, you would have conquered already everything. So that's the reality. Okay. And admit you by a gate of honor. Admit you into heaven by making, God is not making us anything. God is giving us this knowledge and enabling us to renounce these vices. but you will be able to pass the tests given by God. Pass with You have to pass with honor by getting full marks, by proving to God that I have no traces of lust, anger, greed, attachment, or ego. So that's what 31 is all about. So now comes 32. Okay, sister, read 32, sister.
Okay, brother. Do
Mm.
not covet what God has given to some of you in preference to others. For men is a share of what they have earned, and for women is a share of what they have earned. And ask God of his bounty. God has knowledge of everything.
Mm. So, right from the beginning, in heaven, there will definitely be number wise among even deities. Not everybody is equal there. So, everybody will be rich, but there will be number wise. One will be more rich than the other. So, right from heaven till the end, there is this inequality, but that depends on how much effort we put in becoming soul conscious. If you are 100% soul conscious, you will get the highest status. If you are just 99% soul conscious, you will get a bit lower than the previous one. That's how the number wise status is decided. It is destined by you, it is not decided by God, it is decided by your effort. So that's something we need to keep in your mind. So you don't know why somebody is born rich, because in heaven, that's fine. But in hell, all other religions will come only in hell. Only those who listen to God will come into heaven. So even in hell, for example, if you take Christianity, he came 2000 years back. Not all Christians took birth along with Jesus. So only Christ comes first. Then all Christian souls will slowly descend from the soul world. Heaven is here. The world was heaven in the beginning. There's no heaven up above. That's the soul world where God also resides without body. So other Christian souls follow Jesus gradually. Even now, many souls will come. So the souls that comes recently will have that attractiveness, will have that power compared to others, because they did not taste these vices before, because they didn't take birth before. So obviously they were not attracted to outward attractions as old souls do. So that's the reason they're able to concentrate on whatever they want to concentrate on. So they will easily excel. So whoever you consider to be superior in any field, they must have born recently. Maybe this is their first birth or second or third birth. So there's no point in actually coveting what they have achieved. In getting, we need not get jealous on them. Instead, we need to have mercy on them, because they did not enjoy the richness of heaven. Neither did they enter hell in the beginning, because at least hell would be nice in the beginning. Only in the end, it becomes filled with so much diseases, natural calamities. So, what happiness will they enjoy just by taking one or two births? So, there's no point in coveting what they have. So, when you know this secret, you will no longer get jealous on anybody. And also, there is attractiveness. Maybe you are more talented, but still, who are less talented than you will excel now. It depends on the amount of charity that is in their soul. When it gets over, no matter what you do, it's very difficult for you to reach the place the new souls reach without any effort. So you need to understand that. So man gets what he has earned, women gets what he has earned. When did they earn? It is now the soul is yearning. by being in remembrance of God. By becoming pure, it is actually yearning. So, whatever you have here, you will be enjoying it. If you are careless now by being distracted by worldly attractions, then you will be the loser. So, there's no point in getting jealous of others. So, you need to understand both of these things. So, ask God of His bounty, of His richness. So, so actually asking God to give us something is what called as the path of devotion. No matter what religion we belong to, we will in the path of devotion. It is only when God comes we get the knowledge. Only this knowledge. Everything else, all religious scriptures, they come under the path of devotion. You don't attain anything by following the path of devotion, except the temporary peace. But now you are entering heaven that's going to be filled with peace and blissfulness and also wealthiness. So, for that, you don't have to ask Him because He has given you everything. He has given you the key to open the treasure store. What is the key? Remembrance of God. So, as much as possible, consider yourself to be a point of light and forget that you have a body. Consider yourself dead to this world so that you no longer get attracted to anything or anybody. So just have one God in your mind all the time, no matter what you do. When you are able to do that, you are actually getting whatever you want. So God is having the treasure store wide open. So accumulate whatever you want. How do you do that? By being in remembrance of God and heaven. So you will get to know the details of heaven by listening to the direct knowledge of God, which is available as Murli from all Brahmakumaris Raja Center, absolutely free of cost. It is our Father who gives this, who wants us to save us from the pain and sorrow of hell. He has come to take us all back to heaven, where we originally came from. He is making us eligible. He is washing away all our sins, giving us the method. He is not doing it everything. He is just showing you the way. It is up to you whether to hold the hand of God or the hold of hand of human or his way. Because human path is nothing but the path of Satan. It is only the path that's going to lead you to the heaven. So uh, God is witness over all things. So he knows why someone is born rich, why someone is born uh, handicapped. He knows. When you ask him, especially at the time, he will show you what you did in your past life. So you can't do anything. God doesn't create someone as poor, someone with some deficiency as he wish. It is as per your effort in your previous births. So everything and he will show you the vision of what you did in the end. Okay, so, uh, let's go to 34. Oh, sorry, 33. Yeah.
33. To everyone we have assigned beneficiaries in what is
One
left by
second. Sorry,
relatives.
sorry, I have actually mixed 33, 32 and 33. Actually, it's knowledge of everything. So ask God of his bounty. God has knowledge of everything. What knowledge does God possess? God doesn't have the knowledge of what you have in your mind. People think that God we have in our mind. No, he doesn't. If he wants, he can, but usually he doesn't know what you are thinking. God says knowledge of Yah, which means the knowledge from the beginning to the end. He has that knowledge. For that, you need to listen to God. See, everybody has big religious scriptures which nobody can understand. They spend years in understanding, still they don't understand. That's why you don't see anybody reading Quran or Bible or Gita. They just take two verses and spend 2 hours explaining that. And those 2 hour explanations nothing to do with that religious scriptures. So which means they do not understand what is there. But here the God's knowledge is given just one diagram. We were as souls, we came when this was heaven, we were pure. When we become impure by becoming body conscious, we started losing everything. Now again by becoming soul conscious, we are going to get everything we have lost for the uh, time period of 5,000 years. So, and in addition, we need to remember God of light as much as possible to fill the soul with power so that our mind doesn't get distracted anymore to the external surroundings. So this is the knowledge God has. But do you find such knowledge in any religious scriptures? Does Bible, Quran, Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata say how God looks like? What you get when you did they ever say what you need to become eligible to enter heaven? By doing prayers of any sort, how can you enter heaven? Is it going to change your character? No religion says that sex is wrong. Eating non-vegetarian food is wrong. Then how can you enter heaven? Even in Bible and Quran, it is mentioned lion and sheep will take water from the same pond together. Which means even lions will not feed on other animals. They will feed on plants. If you don't renounce consuming non-vegetarian foods, how would you expect Allah to make you enter heaven? Won't you make it into hell the moment you enter? So you need to understand that. Just think over it. That's what God says. Just listen to what I say and compare it with what you have already known from your religious scriptures. Then decide which is true. You have mind and intellect to decide for yourself. But those who were in heaven, only they were able to find the truth. That's the beauty of it. If you were in heaven previously, obviously you will be attracted to this knowledge. Or else you wouldn't even spend more than 2 minutes in watching this video. So that's something you need to understand. Okay, sister. Now let's continue with 33rd verse.
Okay, brother.
Mm.
To everyone we have assigned beneficiaries in what is left by parents and relatives, those with whom you have made an agreement. Give them their share. God is witness over all things.
It's amazing. Mm. So it is God who decide who gets what. Because you are rich doesn't mean your children are going to inherit your. If those who is assigned previous God, they will get it. Maybe government will get it. Who knows? There might be millionaires and billionaires in Palestine and Ukraine. Can they enjoy it now? They can't. So you need to understand. But this is God doesn't speak about these things because God comes only in the end, just before the destruction of the world. So God asks you to detach yourself from everything. So what we are going to see is not to enter heaven, because we need to renounce everything. Because we are living at the time, if you don't even want to renounce, people will just snatch it away from you. Maybe your sibling will do it, or some other close relative will do it. But religions teach you how to live in hell, not to enter heaven. Now it's time to enter heaven. That's why we ask you to grab the hand of God. Okay, but this is not something that you need to heaven, but this is something common sense. Everybody follows this in every religion. So if somebody dies, obviously the close one will inherit the property of the dead ones, right? So, and also, uh, when you are born with other siblings, and if your parent dies, then you should share it equally. But there are many who cheat on siblings, grab their wealth illegally. So it is mentioned it is not good. So if you are doing it, it is because of jealousy, not jealousy, greediness. So if even if you do that, you will be punished. You will not be able to actually enjoy that wealth, but somebody else will enjoy. Maybe your kid, who knows? Maybe he has that charity. You are just a servant to um, earn for him. You are a worker or servant for him, but you will be for your bad deed of grabbing your wealth unlawfully from your sibling. So God is witness over all things because you can have a sibling, but not God. He knows everything. That's the message of that verse. So let's go to the verse, sister. And also, one thing I would like to add is uh, sometimes our parents may not be rich, but someone uh, to might be very rich and have any heirs to inherit their property. So after it will automatically come to you, or they will actually uh, write on their will that you are going to inherit. So that depends on your. If you are God fearing, if your character is nice, obviously everybody loves you. So they will decide to give it to you. So it depends on your attitude. And also, uh, charity. If you're if you have some connection, give and take with somebody else who is poor, so obviously take birth to that poor family to finish that. At the same time, since you are a very good person in your previous birth, you will be getting from some other place money or property from some other place. So the essence of this is instead of focusing on the wealth, focus on your character. What is assigned for you will automatically come to you. Nobody can snatch it away from you. But if you let your character become bad, even if you are born in a rich family, your own sibling will against you, might even poison you. Something that's happening daily. So you need to sure that you are following the path of God. But in Quran and Bible, it is mentioned, kill them, teeth for teeth. That's not God's path. So God's path is to renounce everything because anyway the world is going to get destroyed. So if you have renounced everything, even if it matches property, don't worry, just be at peace. Because whether or not you are staying at peace is what matters. Because where we are going is the land of peace and happiness. Only when you prove that you are at peace, no matter what happens to you, no matter what unjust happens to you, then you are eligible to enter heaven. You need to understand that all the time. Um, okay, sister. So when it comes to you automatically, make sure you are giving. everybody their share. Don't get greedy and want to grab that. It will be punished for that. In the short term, it looks as if, but in the long term, you will birth after birth. Okay, so 34th verse.
That is four. Men are the protectors and maintainers of women, as God has given some of them an advantage over others, and because they spend out of their wealth. The good women are obedient, guarding what God would have them guard. As for those from whom you fear disloyalty, admonish them and abandon them in their bed. Then strike, but if they obey, seek no way against God is sublime great.
So this is something that in today's world people don't accept that men are greater than women. But in Bible and Quran, it is mentioned so. Um, Even in Hinduism, it is mentioned so. Sita says, "Wherever Ram lives, that's Ayodhya for me." When Ram goes to forest, she came. Okay. So for that is men are the protectors, which is true. So be it Ukraine or Palestine, when their husband gets killed, people men approach women uh, lustfully. This happens all the so it proves that men are guarding uh, and giving protection to women, which is true. Uh, and somebody I've seen somewhere, uh, if men and women are equal, who will do the work? Who will do those hard jobs that women can never do like that? But now, okay, everything uh, machines are taking care of everything. But even to operate it when it goes wrong, you need men. To secure, you need men. So it's like that. But anyway, we are not um, getting on any side, but just we are saying that. So here it is mentioned men are the protectors and maintainers of women. So here God has given some of them an advantage over others, like that. Men are given advantage over women in their physical strength. Other than that, both men and women are equal. So you can't actually deny that because girls are excelling in every field. Um, and even God in Bible, he keeps only different. So this is the only organization throughout the world where all administrative heads are women. Only Brahma Kumaris you will find such things. If you search for Muslim preachers, Christian preachers, you will find women preachers very rare. But if you put Brahma Kumaris, you will see most of them are women in YouTube. So that's the power of God. God keeps women. Okay, let's come to Quran again. And the reason they say men are the maintainers of women because men spend out of his wealth. So now no longer the case because men and women inherit from their parents. Previously, it was not so. So now even women, all governments, uh, they give more to women in protecting women. So most of the laws are made to ensure the safety of women, and sometimes women are misusing laws and convicting men of rape falsely. Even this is happening. Okay. Now he is saying good women are obedient, so it applies to women. If men or women is good, obviously they will be obedient to God and also to the elders and guarding what God would have them go. Here is speaking about lust. You have to guard yourself from lust, not from others, from your own husband, from your own wife. This is the direct knowledge because nowhere it's mentioned about having affair with others. And for whom you fear dislike, admonish, abandon them in their beds. So this you can give two meanings. One just for Muslims, one for those who directly takes knowledge from God. So here both women, whether married or not, they should stay pure. No exception. Because heaven is the world where there is no trace of lust. Even childbirth happens there out of the thought between husband and wife and not sex between husband and wife. Because they don't know what lust is. They don't know where greed, attachment, or ego is. So if you are going to go to that world, you have to make yourself eligible before entering that. Say, if you want to go to America, there are some conditions you have to fulfill even before applying for visa. Maybe clear some English exams. Only then you will be able to enter America, many places like that. They will have their own rules for allowing. Then the world that now in this current age and time is the worst, but the heaven is going to be the best of all. So how can God just allow somebody like that? So he set his own and he gives you tests so that he'll be sure that you don't carry the traces of vices from this world. Only then you will be allowed that. So that's the true teaching of God. But here they say being disloyal to the husband. First, advise them strongly that what you are doing is wrong. If they don't, if they still continue with having affair with other guys, then abandon them in their beds. If they still continue, then strike them. So in some times they try their best word. Strike women, slap women, beat women. So do you think God will ever say this? So this is not the word of God. But if they obey you, you don't have to do anything against her. God is very great. God is really very great. But what uh, is mentioned in verse, not everything is the word of God. Of course, men and women are not equal. That's true. Physical health wise, physical strength wise. Otherwise, they are equal. They have their own emotions, everything. So we are not finding anything wrong in that women have to be loyal to the husband. But we are men also need to be loyal to the wife. That is something nobody, be it Islam or be the left wants women to be like men, having sex with anybody they want. That's here it says men can have as many wives as he wants. Why can't women? Then somebody intelligently answers. If that's the case, how can she be sure that who is the father? Why do you bother? Anyway, She's going to live with four husbands. So four husbands will take care of that kid. If you have four wives, they will take care of your kid, right? No matter whom that kid is born to. So that's not the case. In reality, God says, in heaven, there will be marriage, but one for one. There are wives, as mentioned in the scriptures. Just one. Be it Krishna or Ram, everybody will have just one wife. Even with that one wife, they won't have sex. They won't even lust each other. They won't even get disturbed slightly, although they are very beautiful, very, very beautiful. The reason is they were soul conscious. They, whenever they interact with others, their focus ought in between the eyebrows, where the soul is located. Because they know it is the soul that sees through the eyes, speaks, listens through the ears, and performs all actions through the body. So their concentration is always in between the eyebrows. That's the reason they are able to conquer lust. Actually, no question of conquering because they did not get addicted in the first place. It is only now everybody is addicted. Now we need to conquer by being in remembrance of God and looking at each other as souls. So, and here actually variations between many translations. But if you uh, apply Brahmakumari's God's knowledge in this verse, so it applies to both men and women. Here, it is not disloyalty to us because here we need to stay away from sex, whether you are married or not. All forms of sexual activities, even in thought level, you should not have sexual thoughts. So you should always be in remembrance of God to the extent no longer remember any world so that you don't get attracted to anything. So that's the knowledge God teaches in the end because the world is going to get destroyed right before your eyes. Only then you will be able to leave this body happily or let go of lies before you, or else hurting yourself. That is the greatest enemy because more than the death of your parents, the death of your spouse is going to hurt because it is connected with the lust. That is why God asked to conquer lust. So there are many reasons. Moreover, the soul power gets depleted pretty soon by indulging in lust or having lustful thoughts. So here in Muslim family, girls are even allowed to speak with stranger guys. Then how can she have affair with anybody? So he is speaking about renouncing lust altogether. So if she wants to uh, seduce you even after getting this knowledge directly from God, obviously we were under the trap of Satan before, right? So it will have its influence. So when such things happen, advise them. This is let's not lose heaven just for the pleasure that we get for a second. And this is not even pleasure. This is just an imagination that we have to get addicted. The reason there are so many rapes in the world is because of the addiction to sex. So we need to give up that so that the world is free of sex and rapes. So you have to advise them. But still, if they insist on having sex, stay away from their beds. So that's it. So striking is not God's path. But anyway, girl is not going to rape you, right? I don't know. Maybe girls of today's age may even do that. It's happening somewhere. Even in India, it happened like that. But um, It's not something they do when you are conscious. They make you intoxicated with alcohol, then they rape you. So everything is happening. Uh, but you need to understand you are the sons and daughters of God. God is our Father. As long as you don't consider God as your Father, you cannot conquer sex. Because if you are the son of God and your wife is the daughter of God, then you are actually brothers and sisters to each other. Then how can you have sex with each other? So that's why it is mentioned if Adam is the first man, how continue afterwards? Because they are brothers and sisters. Make fun of them. But in reality, Adam is nothing but the Brahma, the old man, into whom God enters. Doesn't mean there were no other men, but it is Brahma who is converted, being transformed by God first. So that's why he is called the first man of the world. So that happens in the old world. So he is the first one to get purified and get eligible to enter heaven. And we are the sons and daughters of not only God, but also Brahma. That is Adam. Because it is through Brahma God speaks. So we are also sons and daughters of Brahma, which is why we are called Brahma Kumars and Kumaris, which means sons and daughters of Brahma in Hindi. So when, of course, it takes time. You can't conquer lust just like that. You need to have determination in your thoughts to conquer lust. Only then you will be able to enter heaven and claim the highest status, which is Sri Narayan. So if they obey you, seek no way against them. Actually, even if they disobey you, when you are in this path of knowledge of God, and when your wife or husband, they're just following their religion, be it Christian or Islam or Hinduism, because no religion speaks against sex. So sometimes they may have an affair with somebody. That's the test for you, because you shouldn't have attachment either. If your sister is going astray, you can advise her, but you won't get this. You consider her. You are no longer the husband of her after taking this knowledge. So you need to understand that. So God is great. That's why He is giving this great teaching to conquer lust and creating the world filled with everything. And we don't have to fear about uh, getting our property lost. He knows what stealing is. Heaven is filled with buildings made of golden bricks. Nonetheless, it wouldn't have any doors or windows because nobody knows what stealing is. So pure are the residents of heaven, and we are becoming that. You need to have that intoxication ever. When you are in remembrance of that all the time, you will not go after sex or any worldly attractions at the cost of heaven. Okay. So go on with 35 sister.
Okay, brother. If you fear a between the two, appoint an arbiter from his family and an arbiter from her family. If they wish to reckon, God will bring them there. God is knowledgeable, expert.
So this 35th verse is actually self-explanatory, right? We don't need to explain that. If there is a breach, that is, if they break the agreement of marriage between the two, find someone whom both sides respect, both husband and wife respect, um, so that they speak. Let them say uh, how good it would be if they stayed together despite these differences, or how bad it would be if you separate. All the risks you need to take, you need to grow your child, You need to go to court all the time. So all these things are there. Because not everybody, not all Muslims agree to Islam law when it comes to divorce, especially girls, because it's maybe it's unfair. I don't know whether it's unfair or not. But if you go to court, it's filled with Muslim girls than other girls in India, where Hindu is the dominant religion, which makes us wonder what's wrong with them. Okay, so if they wish to reconcile, God will bring them together. If they wish to reconcile, they actually don't need anybody, actually, right? They will sort it out themselves. But still, at times when they were so angry. But what happens is, if you are not able to reconcile, because at least one among the two have to stay at peace. But here it says, man is greater. So obviously, it would be difficult. But when they are equally important, because here maybe uh, a peaceful man may be considered weak in Islam when it comes to dealing with his wife. It says he has more power than women, but um, that is just one point of view. But anyway, um, God says through Brahma Kumar, direct knowledge of God. God doesn't speak about marriages. Generally, he is saying when there is a conflict. Okay, let's take the family also. So if there is a fight, if somebody is shouting at you, be it your wife or husband, God says stay calm, because it needs two hands to make a sound by clapping. If somebody wants to clap, when you just close your hand, they can't make noise. Likewise, when somebody is just keep calm, how long will they continue? But if you actually reciprocate by shouting back at them, then sometimes the words you use used against you when you least expect it. That's the reason for having illegal affairs, because that word hurt them so bad that when they get a chance of having an affair, they will take this as for their affair. So that's why stay calm, and they will realize that they are out of their senses pretty soon. But if you shout, and when they shout, it becomes complicated. So when you are in remembrance of God with the sole aim of entering heaven all the time, you will least bother about trivial matters that's happening in the family, because your family is not limited to that physical family, because since you are the son or daughter of God, the whole world is your family now. Everybody is your brother and sister. So it's your duty to reveal the Father to everybody by giving this message, and through your attitude. Your attitude is so divine, then you'll understand only God make them behave like this, especially when you are put to test. When somebody cheats on you, when somebody close to you dies, still at peace, smiling all the time, then people will realize only God is teaching them. It's impossible for any religion to make them so blissful all the time. So that's how we reveal God. Um, so God is knowledgeable. So we are giving the knowledge of God. God is expert in what? In making us into deities, in making us give up all the devilish qualities and fill us with divine qualities by giving this knowledge. He is the ocean of, that's why he is giving for the past 100 years. It's not easy, right? So take the knowledge of God directly from Brahma Kumaris as soon as possible. So we are giving from religious scriptures. You know what religious scriptures say, and you know now what God says. We are sharing that with you. Now you decide for yourself which is right, which could be the true path of God. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much, sister.